All right, folks, welcome back. This is Chris here at TheBigToyAuction.com, welcoming you to another cataloging session of some great comic books we have coming up for auction in our next catalog event. We're going to have a good time. At that, we hope that you can join us. In the meantime, we're going to show you a little bit about how the sausage is made here. This is how we go through and catalog each of the items. The reason we do this is that you get a better opportunity to see each of the items. I can be more specific about condition and such. We are going to create the catalog images that we will be using in our auction, but you'll have an opportunity to get a sneak preview right here. You can head on over to TheBigToyAuction.com. There it is. At any point and leave pre-bids, and you can join us on the day of the auction as we will be going live. We're going to start it off here with the first in this particular batch. This is Fantastic Force. Not to be confused with X-Force or Fantastic Four, but this is Fantastic Force, some good comic books straight out of the 80s. This is Volume 1, Number 2. Tom Brevoort doing some of the heavy lifting on this. You got Franklin Richards making an early appearance, obviously before he became the ultimate super dude that he was later on. And we're going to show you the back right here. Double Dragon, the movie, starring a young Alyssa Milano in that one, as well as some Mark Dacascos. I don't know why I can't pronounce that. We'll get a couple of shots of it. And move on here to our next item, which of course is another Fantastic Force. If I can open it up. This time around, you have number 7. Right here. Some more Tom Brevoort. There, Franklin Richards, Nate Richards. All the Richards goodness going on in the negative zone. We'll get a couple of shots of it. Let me brighten it up just for the catalog. We'll get a couple more shots that way. We like to get multiple shots of it, just so that in case anything goes wrong, we don't end up with images that are too blurry. We love for you to be able to see what's going on. Hey, True Lies right there. Starring, of course, Schwarzenegger. Oh, this is for the video game version. This is, I wasn't aware that even existed. So not for the movie, but rather for the video game. Pretty neat right there. And of course, it gives you an idea of the age of that movie, as well as the age of the comic book. We're going to move on here to some more Fantastic Force. This is from September of '95. Let's move it back up here in the box where it is comfy. This is number 11. A lot like Ahab, but I do not believe it is. Let's get him in the box. Let's get him centered. Folks at home can see him. This one, of course, 90s appearance of Black Panther. Doing super well at the box office. People really seem to be enjoying that movie, and that's fantastic. Despite what may have happened in the most recent Avengers movie, that means that hopefully we will see some more coming up. Let's get the next one ready here. And this is part of a very large collection that we have coming in. Over 4,000 books all told will be coming to you. We'll be hitting the auction block very shortly. You can get all the information regarding that at our website at TheBigToyAuction.com. Registration is always free. And you can leave pre-bids on any item right up until the moment it goes live in the ring. This is Fantastic Force, I believe number 12. Yes, number 12. Some more. Richard's got an appearance of the She-Hulk in there. Not obvious on the cover, but she is in there. Let's get it brighter. There you go. And we'll get you the back of it just for good measure. Anybody remembers the old Marvel Overpower card game? We've actually sold a few sets of those here. Consigners have brought us. And as always, if you have items you would like to bring us, send us a message, and we will be happy to work with you. All kinds of toy and comic book auctions coming up throughout the month. Always got something coming up, so we can work your items in and get you a lot more money for a lot less hassle. There we go. And here we go, Spider-Man Unmasked. This is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Showing some Mysterio right there. This is by Peter David. We had an opportunity to work with Peter David a few years back during one of our benefit auctions. He was at the Great Allentown Fair signing some books. I'm sorry, Great Allentown Comic Convention, I believe is what they call it. They've since moved. They're still around, but they've since moved into the Philadelphia market as well. Being able to do a little bit of stuff. He brought us over from his table an item to sell at the auction. Did very well. Raised some money for epilepsy awareness. Thank you, Peter David. Hope you have a chance to read this book. Anything with Mysterio is always a fun book for me. Some more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, this time with the black costume back again. You know it and love it from the 80s. And it makes another appearance here. Back in black, this is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man number 21. It's got Betty Brant. Flash Thompson makes an appearance. As you know, he is now Agent Venom. Show you the back of it right here real quick. Awesome. Thinkway, I do not believe is with us anymore. I believe they have gone the way of some other toy companies, although Mego is back, so who knows? Maybe they'll make another appearance at some point. You never know. Moving on to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 22. In fact, Thinkway, did they make the Clean doll we sold not too long ago? I believe they did. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man still back in black in the black costume. Always a great look for Spider-Man, I thought. Controversial when it came out, controversial when it came back, but still a great look. Look a little bit more like a spider. Gives a little bit of age to the comic book. You can see exactly when this came out. For the first time, we might get a very good Power Fantastic Four book. Now that it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe again. And we're going to move right along here. If I can get these ready, here we go. Some more Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man coming at you this time. It is number 23. Same creative team. Same quality in there. Nothing really to point out. Still sharp edges, not a lot of spine roll or anything like that. That's why we do these videos, so we can point those things out should we come across. Same goes for the back. We'll get a couple of quick shots. Not really anything important there. I'll brighten it up just a little bit. We are getting some banding in the photos, probably from the LEDs that I'm using. So if there's any way we can come down on that, but we'll work on it. And we move from Spider-Man to Green Lantern. All right. Now, this time up, you have Green Lantern Volume 4. This is number 2. A return of the Hal Jordan Green Lantern. And, of course, you have, working on this, you got Jeff Johns, a fan favorite, Ethan Van Sciver. We talked with Ethan a little while back about, interestingly enough, this is about 6-7 years ago, on possibility of working on an anti-bullying very nice to actually talk to via email, despite some fans suggesting otherwise. But of course, everyone's entitled to their opinion, whether or not I agree with it or you agree with it. And we'll move out here to Green Lantern number 3. Again, volume 4, number 3 this time. Ethan and Jeff again. Working on this one. Get that right in there. Let's brighten it up so you can see it a little bit better. Nice. Good. Okay. And let's just get one more real good right there. We'll flip it over so you can see the back cover. And there you go. Nice Schwinn bike coming at you. They know their Schwinn market. They know their target demographics. All right. Volume 4. Number 7. This time you have Jesus Marino. You got Green Lantern and Green Arrow in this one. Volume 4, number 7. Part of the Infinite Crisis crossover. We're going to get a little brighter on it. Yeah, look at that. Very nice. All right, that's going to be up for auction for you. You need this one to complete your collection. All of our items, you know, we used to start these at a dime as part of our all-in color for a dime auction. We will still be calling it our all-in color for a dime auction. However, now we just started at nothing. We started at whatever you want to offer. So if you only want to pay a penny as a starting offer, that is fine with us. Because I know, and you know, somebody's going to come along and put something higher on it. So the sky is the limit. You put whatever you think is worth, and another bidder will let you know if you're correct. That's what I like in an auction, and we hope you like it as well. Next up, we have Green Lantern, number 8. More of the same. You got some Jim Jordan and Howard Jordan in this one. Mongol making an appearance, as you can see. So a little bit of Kirby type stuff makes an appearance. Again, good condition. You don't see a lot of spine issues there. We're going to flip it over for you so you can see the back. And I'm hoping that our technology holds up. We did just, we've been trying a couple of different methods with our live feed. So this way seems to work very, very well. But I'm not sure how stable it is. So stick with us. We may have to come back if it peters out on us, you folks watching along at home. But fear not, all of these items will be in the catalog. This is Flash, Brightest Day, number 2000, from 2007. This is number 1. B, it is, this is Not at all that. What am I doing? Yeah, I have this incorrect in the catalog. So I'm going to still take pictures of it. This may or may not be up for auction. I apologize for that mistake. I have to figure out what went wrong in our catalog because that is not quite right. It's not what I have. This is Flash number 5, Rogues versus Renegade. I suspect I know what may have happened while cataloging this in. Again, when we get these in, we get these. This particular consignor brought us about 4,000 books of old dealer stock and a personal collection, some good Golden Age and some Silver Age in there. Let me get one quick picture for myself, so when we go through this, I know what the issue was. But we'll take care of that. I'm still going to show you the back of it, just in case this may or may not be in our auction, simply because I have it wrong in the catalog. That happened with one other item, a Superman comic that we'll see later. But we'll do that before we move on to our next item. And that is a little indie comic. This is the Amazing Wazoo. Check that out, folks. Not too often you'll see these. Perhaps with good reason, perhaps not. I have not read it myself. I am unfamiliar with it. It is from Solson Publications. We get some Solson books in every now and again, not too often. It's not a particularly popular comic label. All black and white. Let's see, can we find a date on it? Almost. Yes, this is from 1986. If I've done my math here correctly. Solson's amazing creators, Rich Sawyer and Richard Buckner. Solson was almost an independent, a self-published comic, more or less. They took the time to become a full-fledged press, and there you have it. So from 1986, Solson Comics, you got Super Ranny right there, doing what he does, and giving a shout out to Brodsky Comics, who I imagine must have been one of their sponsors. Thor Sverd, another independent comic book for you from Vincent Creations, another very one-shot kind of rare independent comic you don't see come up too often. I'll show you now. The folks at home won't see this in their catalogs, but I'll show you a couple of pages of it so you can see what it is. It is some black and white indie type stuff. So some fun things right there. We'll flip it over so you can see the back. And we'll get a couple of shots of that before we chug right along. Moving on to what is still technically an independent, although they become more of a major label now. This is Image Comics. At the time, they would have been considered an indie label. This is Vanguard. Kind of a take on Captain Marvel. If you'll recall back in those days, for how well-intentioned the folks at Image and the other independent studios at that time were, a lot of their stuff kind of was a little bit reductive, called in the past. You had Liefeld doing his own version of Captain America, more or less. You had Jim Lee doing his own, well, Liefeld and Lee doing X-Men spin-off kind of books. And this was a little bit like Captain Marvel. But a good read. hopefully you'll get an opportunity to buy this. You will have that opportunity at our next auction. The information is right here in the catalog. There it is. There in the catalog. And we do provide a direct link in the description. Check this out, folks. Wolfpack number 1 in the 12-issue limited series. Straight out of the 80s. It doesn't look much more 80s than this, now does it? One second here. Let's get a couple of brighter shots of it. There we go. Now this, interestingly enough, this is some Larry Hama work. Better known, of course, later for his work on Wolverine, but also for you G.I. Joe fans. You know that he is the heart and soul of the G.I. Joe storyline. In terms of what we know about those characters, the storyline was Kirk, but the comic book was Larry. So there you go. So a little Chips Ahoy maze right there. Kyle Baker did some shores on that book as well. Now we're going to move on here to an interesting throwback. This is from Eclipse Comics. This is from their version of Airboy. So let's get a brighter photo of that one right there real quick. We brighten up the box. Yeah, there it is. We need to get some fill lights in there. We can find a way to do that without some banding. Here you go. You got Chuck Dixon doing the heavy lifting on this one. Tim Truman, Tom Yates also contributing. Only 50 cents. As you can see, a long time since comics were anywhere near that kind of price. And of course, a throwback back to the original golden age of comics with Airboy. We'll get a couple of more shots of it here for the catalog before we move right along. All right. Now we should have some All-Star Batman and Robin. I'm not sure where those are. So give us 1 second. There we go. Somehow they got changed up a bit. Yeah, so here we go. You got some All-Star Batman and Robin. Frank Miller and Jim Lee. So kind of an all-star event right here. And you got two of the biggest comic book names in their day. Jim Lee is actually still pretty big. Frank Miller has taken a little bit of hit in his popularity, but still alive and kicking, doing well, putting out the stuff. A lot of goodies right here. You got Superman, you got Kal-El, Batman, Dick Grayson, everybody. And of course, Black Canary, as you can see on the cover. Looking pretty good. Still looking pretty good. You don't see any major issues here with anything, so doing all right. That is number 3, the regular cover version, and of course number 9 in what looks like a Frank Miller cover, the Dark Knight version of Batman, as it were. Right there, you got number 9, Again, the regular cover, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Frank Miller. So a pretty good read right there, in great condition as you see it. Will be available to some lucky bidder at our next auction. It will be going home with somebody. And leave any pre-bids you'd like right away, right now, right today at TheBigToyAuction.com. If you prefer to just join us for the live auction, you can certainly do that. If you don't like the pressure of a live auction, and there are some who do not, that's okay. We certainly understand. You can leave just a pre-bid, and the system will bid for you on your behalf right up until the moment that it goes live in that ring. So either way, we do our best to take care of you. Now, what do we have next? We have some more Cerebus bi-weekly. These were reprints of the original. Again, if you don't want to go out and buy the original, or you don't want to plunk down the bucks for the phone books, then here's a great way to get some original story. The original reads right here by Dave Sim, starring your favorite barbarian aardvark. Still in great condition. This reprint prints number 8, and this was a reprint later on, 10 years later in March 10th. A little bit of creasing, not a bad crease, just a little bit of a, see the bend in the cover. Not even a full crease, just a little bit of waviness, I'd guess. Nevertheless, great way to get a neat piece of literary history right there for a very reasonable price. And if you like that one, you're going to like this. This is number 9 in the Cerebus bi-weekly series, reprinting the original Cerebus number 9 about 10 years later. And we'll get one more shot of it there. There we go. Looking pretty good. A little bit of age on it. Small ding on the corner there, if you can see that. Here's a reprint of the original back cover. Pretty neat to see some of the old time from 1979. For example, the comic art convention that is sadly no longer with us. Though some of its spiritual successors are, not the least of which is Comic-Con. We're moving on here to Cerebus bi-weekly number 10, 1979, reprinted in April 7th of 1989, so 10 years later, as they began to reprint some of these to make them more accessible. That was before the digital downloads, etc. Still in great condition. Sharp corners, bright colors on the cover there. Starting to fade a little bit, starting to yellow, but hey, aren't we all? Especially after 30 years. Wow. Hard to imagine. A reprint. This book itself is nearly 30 years old, and it's reprinting a comic 10 years older than that. Imagine. Not sure what Dave Sim is up to right now, but if he's up to anything, he's doing better than I probably will at that age. So, we'll move right along here to number 11. Did we miss a 10? Well, I'm sure he'll show up. Oh, that was 10. Let me make sure. Yes, that was 10. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was definitely 10. Let me just make sure I have it in the catalog. Otherwise, we've got to come back. Yeah, okay, we're good. All right, so now we're at 11. reprinting the original Cerebus number 11. This is Cerebus Bi-Weekly number 11 from 1989, April 21st of 1989. Probably right around Mother's Day of that year, possibly Easter of that year. So a nice little fun book. You get to see the advertisements, the original advertisements from 1979 on the back. Brighten it up a little bit for you so we can see it. And again, pretty good corners. Not a ton of yellowing. Just a little bit kind of cream, slightly off-white. Nevertheless, a great read. We're moving on to number 12, Cerebus, number 12, Bi-Weekly, by Dave Sim. He did all 300 of these books more or less by himself. A little bit of crossovers here and there, like we saw with this Spawn earlier, but by and large, this was his baby. He went for quite a long time. A full story arc, 300 issues, spanning what, almost 4 decades? Amazing. All right, let's get some brightness into this one so we can show you. Again, nice sharp colors, corners. Nice sharp corners, good colors on that one still. All around, a great book. Now, we don't offer any kind of grades on these. I will not suggest to you that it is a CGA 9, a CGA 1, a CGA 3.4. Well, 3.5. I won't suggest to you that. Instead, what we do is we show you. You see the comic here. We get it fairly high definition, so you can look right down on it, and then you'll see in the comic, in the catalog itself, you will also see the closer up images. Give you a little bit better look here. But as I go through, see a little bit of ding on that corner. So I will never suggest to you that it's very fine or near mint, because you and I may disagree. What I say is very fine. You may look at it and say, oh, no, that's near mint. That's a fantastic book. Maybe I'm harder on it. Maybe I'm softer on it. Rather than do that, I will give you, if we have a third party grading it, I will certainly give you their recommendation as to grade. But we don't do any of that ourselves. We are not authenticators. We are not graders. We simply bring you the items, show you everything you need to know about it so that you can make a decision on your own. And then let you use your expertise in buying the items you want. All around, it's been a better situation. We think it works out great, and hopefully you do too. We're going to move on here from Cerebus to some Batgirl. This is Batgirl number 17. Puckett, Scott, and Campanella doing duties on that book. Let me brighten it up for you so you can see a little bit better. This one has Barbara Gordon, now as Oracle, of course, after the events of The Killing Joke. You got Cassandra Cain's version of Batgirl. That's a little bit too bright. Let me see if we can bring that down. And of course, Bruce Wayne makes an appearance as the Bat. Good comic book right here. Hope you've gotten a chance to read these. This is from Volume 1. Back about 17 years ago. Hard to imagine. From 01. A good book all around. Later on, some of those same characters would show up in Birds of Prey. Another great book. If you haven't read that, I encourage you to do so. But in the meantime, we've got these for you. We move from Batgirl number 17 to Batgirl number Batgirl number 19. And this time up, more of the same for you. Let's get a couple of shots there, and then we'll brighten it up for you. You got more Oracle in there. Same creative team as before. Puckett, Scott, and Campanella. And we'll show you the back of it. Looks like a small ding right there, it looks like. Not even sure if you can see that in the camera. Maybe I can bring it closer. So there you go. And we'll show you the back of it. Nothing to really point out on the back, but we still like to do it for completeness sake. We like to have full and upfront disclosure on everything. So, hey, if seeing the back of it, the back cover helps you to make a decision as to whether or not to purchase, then we will do that for you. And we move on here to Batgirl, number 20, volume number 1, number 20, with what appears to be a Trollin from He-Man on the front of it. Actually, I guess more appropriately, it's from She-Ra. She-Ra introduced. He-Man introduced the first Trollin that we got to know, but we got to learn more about their society from She-Ra. Right. And we get the back. There we go. And that is going to do it for number 22. I'm sorry, that is going to do it for number 20. As we move on to number 22. We'll use a little card here to flip them over so that we don't ding it. Seems to be the best way to do it. For us, it's worked very well. The same with the gloves. We use the gloves in order not to get any kind of oils, dirt, residue, etc. on your comic books. That way we can touch these. We still try not to touch them as much as possible. That way we can handle the comic books a little bit better without getting anything on your books. And of course, in the case of the older books, we've got a large golden age batch coming in a few weeks. We don't want that stuff getting on us either. So protects you, protects us. Let's get one more brighter shot of this. There we go. And this is number 22. Same creative team as before. You got Oracle, you got Batgirl, fighting crime. We'll get a couple of shots of the back for you. Hey, anybody remember Oddworld? That was a fun little game, Oddworld. It's kind of disturbing. It was a society fueled by children's fears, if I'm not mistaken. But still a fun little game. Surprising it hasn't made any kind of comeback, to the best of my knowledge. All right. So we'll finish that. Batgirl, number 24, right here. Bruce Wayne murdered. Oh, no. All right. That is the head line on this one, the lead, as it were, for Batgirl number 24. Puckett, Scott, and Campanella. This time up, you got Renee Montoya, along with Oracle and Batgirl, making an appearance, of course. Let's brighten it up so you can see it. Check out the corners, the colors. Everything seems bright and sharp. So a good comic book plan. And you know what? I'll try to do this a little bit more as we move it. I'll try to do it just a little bit so you can see the way the light shines out. But that gives you an idea of what the cover is like. All of these have been pretty good so far, so we haven't needed to point out any ripples or creases or anything like that, but I'll try to do that a little bit more as we go on, if I remember, especially with some of the older ones that may not be in as good a condition. Here's an older one right away. This is American Flag. The Continuing Adventures of Reuben Flagg. Looks like he's no longer in Russia in this one. In fact, he wasn't there yet. This is from Volume 1, Number 7. Obviously, Howard Chaykin. This was his baby, his story to tell. It's a little bit too bright. Let's see if we can soften it up. There we go. That's probably too dark, but between the two, we'll find a happy medium. Might have to do a little bit of post work. Now, we like to, that's the other reason we do these videos, is so you can see the raw, how it looks. Still pretty sharp. A little bit of rounding to the corners right here. I believe those colors may have faded. You can see it kind of in the show. But we try not to do too much post work on these at all because we want you to see exactly how it is. Now, here in the video, you'll see exactly how everything looks, exactly how it came in, and be happy with it. Sometimes in order to make things pop, especially if there's a small crease or a chip or a tear or whatever that you may not be able to see, we really need to fix that in post to make it pop a little bit more so that you can see it and it'll bring it out. We sometimes also like to tweak the brightness a little bit so you can see the covers better, and usually the contrast is just so we can point out flaws. You know what's going on and we know what's going on. I'm trying to let you know as much about the process as possible. That's why we do these videos, is that you can see the behind the scenes. We used to just people would show up on game day and never know what an auction was like or how it worked. Sometimes they weren't entirely sure how to bid, and that's okay. But this way we make things a little bit easier for you so you don't have as many questions. And you can ask any questions of us. Send them via a message or an email, and we will be happy to work with you on game day. When we're actually doing the auction, it's going very quickly. We just don't have time to answer questions to people's satisfaction. And we don't want to sell an item that you are not fully aware of, that you haven't asked your questions and been answered. So hopefully this will help. This is American Flag number 8, Volume 1. If I can, there we go. So again, some good corners on it, some good colors. Beowulf, interesting. So we got a picture of the back of it. I will brighten it up a little bit there. Sometimes we end up, because we take multiple pictures, sometimes we end up brightening it up in a later image. And I've already done the post work on the first, so it doesn't matter. That's all right. We're happy to do the work to bring you comic books. If you have your comic books that you would like to sell with us, be they gold, silver, modern, bronze, let us know. We are always happy to work with you. A lot of times it's better to do them all in one big auction. We get a lot of marketing out there. We put tons of money and resources into advertising. Get your items sold, plus then you don't have to take the time to go on Facebook and Craigslist, etc., and get ripped off, possibly. Not always. Sometimes those are great. Sometimes those Facebook groups are super. And things work out, you make some money, you make some friends. Other times, But we take care of all of that for you. You don't have any chargebacks. You don't have any people trying to scam you. So this is American Flag number 11. I'll get one more shot of it before we move on. We're going to finish out with the American flags. And we'll wrap it up for the day. We'll see you after that. First choice here on the back. We'll get a couple of those. Boom, boom, boom. And we will move on to lucky number 33. Again, the adventures of Reuben Flagg here. By this point, he had picked up a few extra people. You got Steve Grant and Norm Brayfogle. You know their work as well, but still It's the same Reuben flag that you know and love. We'll flip him over to the back here. Let me move him up in the box so you can see him a little bit better. And we'll brighten it for you. And you can see the corners on it. A little bit of wear right there. Nothing major, I don't think. I don't think many of these are to read. They're not really to send in to AFA or not AFA, but CGA, CGC. I don't think people are quite as worried about the condition. Not like when we bring you the gold and silver ones a little bit later, which we'll be doing. But we still like to give you as much information, make the choices before you bid. So here we go, number 37, More American Flag. Mark Badger makes an appearance on this, as well as Brayfogle and Grant. Let's brighten them up for you as we see what old Reuben flag is up to this particular month. Nick on that. And folks, give us some feedback on the video. Let us know what you'd like to see more of. If you're able to see some of these little things, or if there's a better way that we can present the items to you, we love to hear it. We always want to make the auction experience the best that we can for you, so we try to do this as well as we possibly can. And we love hearing from you. Also, if you enjoy what you're doing, the best way to see what's coming up next in some of our next auctions is to follow us. You can follow us and turn on your notifications to let you know when our next live videos are going to be streaming. And that'll be the best way to, we'll send some notifications ahead of time. But that's usually the best way to find out when we're going to be on, and you get a sneak peek and can jump right over into the catalog and start bidding. So win-win for everybody. If you like what you're doing, share. This is number 41 from Flag, Jim DeMatteis, doing some duties on this. One of my favorite comic book writers of the 80s. Probably right up there with Hama, who we love. We've met with him many times at volunteering at G.I. Joe conventions. Go. Let's get him brighter. Can we do that? There we go. And of course, Jim DeMatteis, who did Craven's Last Hunt, one of my favorite 80s stories. So there you go. We'll finish out with that. You know, I'm going to do one more batch here. We'll do the Fables before we go, just so we can start on Captain Atom when we get back. All right. Yeah, we'll get in a couple more. Just we want to get as many of these in as we possibly can for you, so you can see what's up for auction. This is Fables from Vertigo Comics. Kind of took the idea of some old regular Fables, Pinocchio in this case, in this particular one, as well as some others. Got Mark Buckingham did some work on this. I don't think in this particular issue. It was from March of 11, so about 7 years old. Still holding up very, very well. You can see still bright, shiny colors. Good corners. No nicks. I don't see too much anything going on in the spine there, any spine wear or anything like that. So a nice bit of older, not too old, less than a decade. As we move on to some more Fables this time. This time, number 102. Yeah, okay. All right, we got it. Yep. Number 102. This has some Buckingham in it. Yep, Mark Buckingham listed on there. All regular covers. I don't think any variants. It's not that my notes tell me. We can get that a little bit brighter. Let's try right here. I think that's as bright as we're going to get that one. So some good stuff right there. And we'll get you the back cover. And that, I think, is going to do it for us for today. Thanks again, folks. Check out, we'll start off with this one next, but thanks again. Check out our website at TheBigToyAuction.com. Registration is always free, and we look forward to seeing you at the auction.